Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. My name is Jeremy. If you don't know me, I'm the production director at NewPoint's Dover campus. I want to take some time in this video to go over our Living as One system. Living as One is the platform that we use for video message delivery to all of our locations across Northeast Ohio. And that system incorporates a Living as One encoder that lives at the broadcast location, usually in Dover, and then Living as One decoders, which is what receives the signal at our campuses throughout Northeast Ohio. In this video, we're going to go over how to use the decoder in a Sunday morning situation, so let's take a look. All right, here's the Living as One decoder interface. The first thing you'll need to do is to log in for your campus. You should be able to find the credentials nearby your decoder at your local campus. We'll log in as Canton just for demonstration purposes. The first thing you're going to see when you log in is the events section. You can use these buttons here to navigate through the different sections on the Living as One decoder interface. The first thing that you'll want to do when you come in on a Sunday morning and get this fired up is to select the appropriate event here in the list by clicking here and then hit select event, and it'll ask you to clear the local disk cache. What that does is that erases the hard drive and gets it set up to download new information for the ongoing stream. Typically, the broadcast location is up and running before 7 o'clock, so if you're getting in a little earlier and you don't see it, just wait a few minutes and check again. So let's go ahead and clear the disk cache, and we'll start streaming this event. You'll see a few things change right away, including we're starting to see some numbers down here at the bottom. And we have an orange play button. We've got a transport control that lights up. This is your basic transport control for the stream. Right now, we're not running it yet, but we'll go ahead and start playing it back. We're not seeing any image yet because Dover wasn't broadcasting an image yet. We'll get to that in a moment, but let's take a look at a few of the numbers down here and start to learn what this information means. Right here, this first number is what's called the position time. This is what time frame you're looking at based on when the stream actually started. So this is not a clock time, but this is how long the stream has been going on. Down here at the end is going to be the time remaining left in your stream. So we're looking at this stream after the fact. This is from this previous Sunday. So we're playing this back and we're not live. So you see that this number is counting up as we're playing and this number is counting down as we're getting closer and closer to the end of the stream. This number will act differently on a Sunday morning. We'll go over that in a few minutes. On this buffered time remaining, this is the amount of video that you have downloaded from the stream ready to play back. So right now you can see that there's well over 9 minutes. There's lots of time left in the stream. If your network connection were to go down, you'd be able to play back this amount of video from your current position without a problem. Let's scoot to another position real quick on the timeline. You'll see some things change as it starts to load the video from that place. You see this buffer time remaining goes red, it says less than 30 seconds, and as it downloads the stream from the internet, it goes orange, and then later on it'll turn white as there's plenty loaded in the buffer. So this is an important number to look at when you're operating it on a Sunday morning to see how much buffer you have remaining. Generally, we want to see 2 to 3 minutes of buffered time remaining when we're in a live situation. That will keep your timer in orange, but we find that 2 or 3 minutes is good enough to have enough stored in the buffer to play back at your campus without an issue. Other things to look at in the transport control is this lock feature. Once you are playing back, especially during a message, it's a good idea to hit this lock button, which means that you can't click on any of these items down here and affect the playback. So it's just a good best practice to be in once you're in the message to go ahead and lock your playback so you don't accidentally start or stop or move your playhead around while everybody's watching the message. Okay, let's go ahead and unlock and we'll take a look at a few other features. So far we're just looking at basic playback right now. You see this is about 26 minutes into the stream and we're still kind of setting up in our rehearsal on that Sunday morning, so you don't see too much. But let's go jump to something a little more interesting. Here in the cue section, that's going to be where you are going to be spending most of your time on a Sunday morning. Right away, when you get in, you'll see a handful of cues at the top that are for basic testing and feeds check. You should see these pretty early on in the morning, as the broadcast location is going to make that top priority to deliver as soon as the stream goes live. So let's look at how we operate a cue. Let's pause our playback here. And you see we have black, we have a test image, and the focus image. Let's go ahead and hit go to on our test image. So as you can see, we have our 2 channels of playback. They're in color bars, and everything is paused. This is going to show that there's a purple bar right here. This means that you are paused and queued up at that cue, ready to go. This will be one of the things you'll want to look at when we're getting ready to actually play back a live message. But we'll do a little bit more on that in a little bit. You'll notice as we hit play, this purple bar goes away as you're no longer queued up on that cue. It'll go away here in a second. There it goes. Okay. Other test images that we have is our focus image, which is useful to help line up our projectors, especially at portable locations. And then let's go to our camera feeds check. And this is going to give us our main camera check. This was during rehearsal, so this lets you verify that that feed is working. And normally you would see a center camera image here. As we're getting things rolling here early on in the process, we're still working on that to make sure that you have what you need. But you will be able to check your center camera feed as well as the focus image to dial in portable projectors at your location. Okay. Once you've gone through your test cues and you have what you need early on in the rehearsal, it's a good idea to go ahead and play your stream and go ahead and try to get as close to live as possible. You can use this option, it'll be highlighted in a live situation, to go ahead and jump to maybe 1 or 2 minutes away from live. And what that's going to do is that's going to continually be streaming in the incoming video signal from the broadcast location and storing it on your hard drive so that you're ready to play back wherever you need it to be. During the service, you're going to be looking for cues to be appearing in the list as they hit those moments at the broadcast location. You should see things appear in your list at your remote site. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Okay. So you can see in the cue list that we have a 9 o'clock service start that just appeared. Let's go ahead and jump to that because we're still looking at our dress rehearsal here. Okay, great. So this is the start of the service. Looking for these cues is going to be kind of a good marker for where the broadcast location is in their service, and so that you can kind of have an idea of things that are coming up. When we're into the offering or announcement time or prayer time coming out of the worship set at your local campus, you're going to want to be looking soon to see a title video cue and a message start cue. If you're not seeing those, you're going to want to connect with the other campus or with the broadcast location as soon as possible to figure out why, because maybe there's a timing issue and the producer at the local site needs to get the campus pastor to stall a little bit while we're waiting for the stream to come in, or maybe there was some other issue that you need to be aware of. But you're going to want to be looking for title video and message start cues to be coming in so that you're ready to go. As soon as you see the message start cue, go ahead and pause your playback and hit go to. And that's going to queue up your video at the start of the message, which should have been already downloading video if you were running your playback, so it should not take very long to queue up like it did just now because we're doing this in a demo environment. Once you have queued up the message start, you're paused, and you see your buffered time go up to about 2 minutes, you can alert your producer that we're ready to go and that you can begin playback at any time. Once the title video ends at your campus, you will switch to your Living as One Channel 1 on your switcher and hit play at the same time. And then you'll see the playback begin at your local campus. As we get further along the message, you're going to see cues for prayer start and for prayer end appear. This is a good indicator that the end of the message is coming up, and it's a good time for your producer to get the band or anybody that they need lined up for any sort of closing elements to the service at your local site. What you'll see when you see the prayer start appear is this countdown timer is going to count down to when this cue begins. So here you can see we're 30-something minutes out, but if this were a real Sunday morning and we were watching the message, that counter is going to be much lower, probably within a couple of minutes, and that'll be a good indication of when to have people ready. Now, it is possible, say we are in a queued up situation for the start of the message. It is possible that if the broadcast location has to update that queue for any reason, that the position time for the queue would change and this purple bar would go away. You will want to keep an eye out for this while you're waiting for the message to start. And if that purple bar goes away, you'll just simply want to hit go to again and it'll re-queue it up. Sometimes that might happen if we've got to tweak the position of the queue if something was missed the first time around. So keep an eye out for this purple bar when you're standing by ready for message start. Let's talk a little bit about during playback and the things to look for. This time here is the position time and will continue to count up as you continue to stream and go further along in the stream. The buffered time remaining, this is probably going to be pretty close to a fixed amount based on how far behind the broadcast location you're running. You see here that we have nearly 10 minutes buffered. That's not generally going to happen in a live situation because our services will run closer than that. So you'll probably be looking to have 2 to 3 minutes of buffered time here in the buffer ready to go. And if that number drops below that, we might need to be looking at some network issues. We'll take just a quick second to talk about this timer here. It's hard to demonstrate this in a training scenario, but basically this time represents the amount of time left to the end of the stream. If this is a live situation, this is effectively not going to change if you are playing back in the message, because the amount of time between your position and the end of the stream is going to continually be fixed if you're playing back. Let me say that a different way. If you're playing back 10 seconds of video and the same 10 seconds is passing at the live broadcast location, this number is going to remain the same. This number will essentially be the amount of time that you are delayed from the live campus. So generally this is going to be within it's going to be in the 2 or 3 minute range most of the time. As you're getting communication from the broadcast location and making sure that everybody's doing well, and if you're asked for the delay time, this is going to generally be the time that is going to be looked for as long as you're playing back. You won't see this time change if you are playing back. And then the other number that you may be asked for is your buffer time, which is going to be this. Normally in a live situation, you'll probably be within about 2 or 3 minutes of a delay, and you should be slightly under that in your buffered time. Our best results have shown maybe about 15 seconds less buffered time remaining than your delay time. If you do see a significant difference between your delay time and your buffered time, you might have some network issues, and it might be a good idea to alert your production director or maybe get a hold of tech ops to try to troubleshoot what's going on. So during a service, it's going to be important that you are playing back your stream live beginning at every service so that your decoder is downloading that stream and is ready to go for your message later on in the service. It's also a good idea to keep glancing over to make sure that you're not seeing any errors appear in your notifications window. Some things that could cause some errors might be you're trying to follow too close to the live time within maybe a minute or so or less. You may see some errors talking about the playback having to stop because it's unable to download it quickly enough. If that's the case, then you might need to back up your delay time to maybe say 2 minutes and see if you can get those errors to go away. So as you're viewing this live during a service, you should continue to see video coming in, and you should see a good buffer time throughout that, and be on the lookout for cues to be seen as the service progresses. The other advantage to playing back your stream, even if you're not putting it up on screens during a live service, is that the decoder will continue to download that video stream and have it ready for you as you get closer to the message, and then all you have to do is queue up to the right spot. Queuing up to the message start should take only a minute if your stream is already playing back, because it's already downloaded that information and it just has to jump to that position in your video. At the end of the day, you'll want to probably just go ahead and pause your playback, and depending on the procedures at your local campus, you may go ahead and log out of your decoder. Also, in portable situations, you may need to shut down your decoder in order to safely power everything off. So in order to do that, you just go up here into the user menu, and you can either sign out or shut down as needed. Once you have paused your playback at the end of the day, if you're able to leave your decoder up and running, you should go ahead and do that. And if you're paused, you're in good shape and you won't need to worry about it. However, if you do forget to pause it, it will stop on its own as when the stream is shut down at the end of the day. Let's take a look at some other things in the interface to keep an eye out. So down here we do have some audio meters, and these audio meters represent some different channels. You won't see audio from all of those channels all the time, but you will see audio from channels 1 and 2 all the time. Your production director at the local campus might be interested in some of this other stuff, and just to be aware that this is where you might be looking for if they're wanting to find some audio. Up here in the top corner of your decoder is some status icons, and this gives you some information about what's going on. Normally, your network and disk should be a black background like this with a check mark, and that indicates that your network performance is good and that you've got plenty of free space on your local hard disk. If either of these go orange or red, you can roll over and see what the error is and take appropriate action as needed. Oftentimes, if the network is having problems, you may see this go orange or red before your playback stops because you have buffered video still playing back. And there's been reports from Living as One of some campuses that have lost internet connection altogether, and they'll get a phone call from Living as One before their playback even stops. So Living as One provides us with some really great monitoring tools, but this is a good status to look for to make sure that you're not having any network problems. Same thing with your disk, although you shouldn't really have any issues with your disk getting full as long as you're hitting that clear cache when you select the event at the beginning of the day. This icon will show whether you're in an on-demand situation or a live situation. For demonstration purposes, we're playing back a stream that already happened on a previous day, so this is showing that we are on demand, and that's normal. But on a Sunday morning, you will most likely see live here unless you're using a message record event to play back your message. Some things to know that might be relevant for troubleshooting. Some of this we've already talked about, but just a refresher. Keep an eye out in this notifications window. This is going to tell you if you've got any issues, maybe following too close to live and the decoder is not able to download it quickly enough. You may see indications for that, or maybe paused playback or other issues. So keep an eye on this notifications screen, and you might have to take appropriate action if something is a little weird there. But just keep an eye out for that. Also, keep an eye out for red or orange indicators up here in the network and the disk. If you're having problems with the video signal to your switcher or to your projectors, go ahead and follow normal troubleshooting procedures for that and eliminate items one by one. The decoder is a rack-mounted unit that has 2 outputs, and you can follow the chain from there. It is possible that the outputs on the decoder may be reversed, and you might have to switch that, but generally speaking, once the decoder is installed, you won't need to worry about that. Alright guys, if you're having trouble with your equipment on a Sunday morning, please try to make sure you're going through all these checks during your rehearsal so that we can catch issues early on. But there's a couple different numbers that should be able to help you out. If you're experiencing problems with your local hardware or your local network or internet connection, i.e. you can't download the stream because the network is down, or the monitor is not working and you need some assistance with the hardware, you can reach out to the NewPoint TechOps helpline at 330-588-6200. And you can call or text that line, and the folks who are on call from the IT department will be able to help you. If this is a problem with the Living as One interface or some sort of software problem that we're having with the Living as One device itself, you can reach out to Living as One's support line at 1-800-875-0696, extension 2, and you'll be able to reach their support team. They overstaff on the weekends because they know that this is really important for lots of churches all across the country. So if you're having issues, don't be afraid to reach out to them for help. All right, I hope this video was helpful for you. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your local production director, or you can email production@newpoint.org, and we'll be able to get you squared away. And in the meantime, have a great day.